is following Yeshua. Welcome again to the Rock. Wow. This government shutdown thing is interesting. The country being 38 trillion in debt is interesting. How anybody thinks that this is going to be resolved and is amazing. This is yet another reason why you should always be in a state of preparedness in one way or another. And I'm not talking about you have to have 2 years of food stored up. I'm talking if you just had 2 or 3 months worth of food stored up. Water, um, some of the most basic things that you can do. First aid, some money to cover your bills for a month or two. Just simple things. Because you look at this what's happening right now in this nation's capital. You have men, and I'm sure women, that are playing with your future. And what I mean by that is they are, a lot of people are saying it's the Democrats, they're deciding not to make certain moves or not to agree with certain things. And they're fighting. And who are the ones that are going to pay for it? People are being furloughed. People are being fired, just outright fired. This is going to lead to jobs being reduced, federal jobs being reduced. And the people in the Capitol don't care. They're sad. They have the money that they need. They have what they need. It's the average everyday person. You have elderly that do depend on federal SNAP and things like that, and they're gonna suffer. They're gonna suffer because a bunch of men can't agree. Isn't that interesting? This is why you should always be in some state of preparedness. Because these things, it seems like it happens almost every year. Every year they barely ward off a shutdown, except for apparently this one. I mean, I know we've had it before, and it may last a couple weeks, but this one seems serious. Meanwhile, this country is 38 trillion in debt. That should be another reason. At any point in time, the house of cards could fall. The snowball that has been going downhill can meet the side of that cliff and everything explodes. They are playing the game. And my apologies. It's just it's a weird state that we are in. And at any given point in time, the money could be called in. The debt could burst. It could have some severe consequences economically, financially, nationwide, worldwide. So, having a full pantry, having a garden, growing food, having chickens, things like that are just prudence. It's just wise. It's just wisdom. It's not some. I hate when people say, "Are you a prepper?" No, I'm a homesteader. And I believe in the Bible, and the Bible talks about being prudent and how you should just simply have your eyes open in general. It shouldn't take, something horrible to happen for it to result in now I want to buy some rice. Now I want to buy some beans. Now I want to, make connections with somebody. Maybe now I want to grow a garden. The time to grow a garden is not when you need to. The time to grow a garden is before you need it because it takes time to grow gardens. It takes time. If you've never grown them, it takes time. And especially if you're talking about growing enough to actually feed somebody. It's not something that, oh, I'm gonna throw. I mean, the quickest thing you could probably grow is what, radishes, 20 to 30 days. So that would mean you'd have to have a month worth of storage. And in reality, how many people want to eat just radishes? Or maybe you can go 45 to 60 days and grow some turnips. How many people just want to eat turnips? Squashes. But hey, we're headed to the winter, so a lot of that stuff, unless you have a greenhouse or a hoop house, a lot of that stuff is going to be out. or unless you grow, in some of the better zones, zone 8, 9, or beyond. But you're seeing that these people don't care. They're, they go home, for these recesses, and they haven't come to an agreement, and everybody, people are going to suffer, and it's just like, hey, we'll come back after the recess, and we'll see if we can hash it out. We'll see if we can work it out. And that's just how it goes. Meanwhile, who's suffering? Who's paying for it? Who are going to be the people having to deal with it all? I mean, there are people talking about, like we talked about in the last video, rioting and stealing. Why? Because a bunch of people cannot come to a agreement. And what the agreement is going to be? It's going to be okay, let's kick the can down the road until next year. And next year we'll sit down and discuss it again. It seems like it's a yearly thing. If you were wise, you would see yearly. You should have some things set back right about the time they start discussing budget. Whenever they start discussing budget, you should start saying you should already be ready, just in case a shutdown happens. But it seems like people just don't understand that they're not looking out for you specifically. They're not. They're not making decisions for you. They make decisions for themselves and for the people that they want it to benefit. And if you're not in that list, you're in trouble. So it would fall on you then to make sure that you are taking care of you and not waiting for a system that can't balance a budget, that continuously gets in debt trillions every year. I mean, or a billion. Well, this year 1 trillion, and then they said this year we went 1 trillion in debt. I mean, that's the plan. The plan is to spend and spend and spend and spend and spend and spend until they can't spend anymore, living a life of debt. It says in the Bible, the borrower is a servant to the lender. So if the borrower is a servant to the lender, who's lending this country all its money? That's who we are a servant to. That's who this land is when I say we, I mean the people in this country are a servant to. The time to wake up it's been beyond time. It's sad you go on the internet and I can't, go through YouTube one day without hearing so many stories of people chronicling their struggles and how they don't know they're going to make it, and yet here we are. Still, the idea of being ready and preparing, homesteading, growing, those things just aren't in our minds. And now that we are here where we are, everybody now wants to try and figure out how they're going to do it. And the time to try and figure that out is not when things are at your door. Anyways, bless y'all. Hope you're having a blessed day. Shalom.